So, can you fix your emissions codes from a bottle? Probably not, but we're going to try. So it is a rainy Monday morning, and I came across this stuff from CRC. Guaranteed to pass emission system cleaner. Double money back guarantee. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But it's this stuff right here. I generally like CRC products, but my experience with this stuff is pretty bad. It's very basic. Most of the stuff is designed at the onset, not after prolong. Yeah. So we're gonna go over this, and this says add one entire bottle to half a tank or full gas tank. Yeah, gas tank is half full. Drive vehicle normally for 20 to 40 miles. Afterwards, fill tank completely. Drive vehicle normally until the tank is nearly empty. That shouldn't be a problem. And then refill gas tank and take the state emissions test. And then it says to use 4 times a year, blah, 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 blah. It says it could help. And there's all sorts of words like that. Could, maybe, should, you know what I mean. And of course, it says the warranty's void if your vehicle's catalytic converter emission system components are altered, disabled, or if engine settings do not comply with manufacturer specifications. So if you have a tune on your car, they're not going to guarantee it. So let me hook up the code reader and I'll show you what we got. We got the code reader going. Let's see what happens here. O2 sensor, blah, blah, blah. Only one today. Well. Lane. Basically, it's saying that, yeah. It says my fuel cap is leaking. That pops up all the way. This is just all EGR stuff, pretty much. And that will affect just about everything. I may actually also have a leak in the exhaust. So, whoops. So we're going to stop here, and I'm going to put this stuff in. I'm not going to clean anything because it actually said it restores performance, reduces emissions, clears engine check lights, and saves gas. So let's see if it actually clears anything first. I'm not going to delete any of these codes until we fill it up after the second time. We'll see what happens. So let's just dump it in here. All right. So I'm running E85 in this right now. Not a big fan. It's cheap, even though you really kind of use more. But it's readily available, and the car's kind of spunky with it, and that's why I like it. But we're running E85 in it right now, so we're going to run to the north side of Wichita, which is about 40, 50 miles from here, for breakfast. They have a great chicken fajita omelet, which is fundamentally wrong if you really think about it. I mean, you take the egg out of the chicken and put the chicken right back in the egg. But gonna go get my coffee, and then we're just gonna drive around because that's what it says to do. Now, my general experience with this stuff is this is always usually just a one-shot kind of thing. Once you have the initial clean, anything that's loose is done. You're not going to get any cleaner than that. But that being said, I'm not noticing any difference in the car or anything like that. and the check engine lights are still here, but we haven't gone too far. They go between 20 and 40 and then top it off. So, you know, we'll put 40, 50 miles on it and run the tank down. And then it says to top the tank off and run it all the way out again. That'll take a couple of days for sure. But usually though, after the first fill up, when you run it out, the cleaning power is pretty much gone. I think what they're wanting you to do is just basically make sure you get it all out of the system. It's not something that probably should stay in the system very long. It's just a cleaner. But that being said, we'll put this thing out here on the open road and see what happens. I wish it was dry and sunny today. Now, one of the claims that's being made is that it clears check engine lights. It didn't really specify. Does it actually clear them off the dash, or does it, you have to clear them and they stay gone? Most people don't own a scanner. I mean, they're expensive and most people don't think about things like this. So if you own a scanner, that's one thing, but we're going to do this like we don't own a scanner. So we're going to run it around all day and maybe tomorrow and see what happens. So let's go do some running around, and then I'll pick you up when we do the fill up. So I'm here at my local jump start. We're going to fill up with E85. It's $2.79 a gallon. So let's get that filled up, and then let me show you where the fuel gauge is right now. So we went from half a tank down to just a hair over a quarter a tank, and when in fact this is actually a quarter a tank. So yeah, so let me get this thing filled up and we'll just have to go from there. All right, so we're gonna do that. Part of the problem I've been having is it's not venting right now, just because it's not allowing me to fill up. Oh, did it go? Is it going? Nope. Take a while. So we put in a total of 12.323 gallons, and it's full. So I'm gonna shut the car off and go in and find some Advil because I threw my back out. I shouldn't be slinging car doors like I was doing. That was a very, very long night. Now, I'm pretty certain that my fuel cap gasket's bad, or my fuel cap itself is bad. These do wear out. I'm going to go to Ford and look for one, see if they can give me one. I got one at the junkyard that's in the glove box, but the problem with doing that is you have no idea whether that's any good at all either. So, oh, phone. We're at the Ford dealer, so let's go in. It says it'll be, my fuel cap will be in on Thursday. It's about $25. I have another one I picked up at the junkyard, but I don't like junkyard fuel caps just because it's... The car was in the junkyard for a reason. The fuel cap may be good, but chances are, probably not. And if they sit out there open in the weather and all that, they just degrade. I mean, that's just what plastic does. So, being left-handed, this is great. So, we're going to drive around a little more. I'm going to put a few more miles on this car. And then, no engine lights have cleared at all. So, what we're going to do here in a little bit is I'm going to go ahead, run about half a tank out of this. We're going to clear all the engine lights, and then we'll just have to go from there and see what happens. Probably not going to have a fuel cap by the time this gets through, but truthfully, it needs a fuel cap anyways. Oh, hey, the car's messing up. So this is kind of what it's been doing right here. It's kind of up and down, up and down. I've cleaned the MAF sensor, but this is an O2 problem right here. So that's one of the things that we've been fighting. So I'm gonna go find me some breakfast and just kind of go from there, see what happens. What I really need to do is put it on the highway and run it at about 80 to 85 miles an hour for about 25 or 30 minutes. That right there would probably do it a world of good, honestly. So we might do that here in a bit, but definitely after breakfast. Now I've just been running errands all day, and well, the car's busy doing its thing right now. Oh yeah, so the minute I show it, it quits. Yeah, that's how that works. You know, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just replace these codes. And no, that's not. I'm gonna do what I said. I'm gonna run this tank out. I'm gonna do exactly what the directions said. And then as soon as we get ready to fill up again, I'm gonna go through and clear all these codes tonight or tomorrow morning, depending on how much I'm driving, and then we'll just see what happens. I might still put it on the interstate for one exit, 5-6 miles, and just really run it up and see if I can blow some stuff out of it. The turnpike's just right over here. I had to run up to the next town over to the hardware store, so I think I'll just run it up and see what happens. Do what? So we did a really hard blast down the interstate. About as hard as I really dare in the rain, but lights are still here. So I don't know if I need to if they need so many cycles to turn off or what. And that'll be an interesting thing to find out. I've done 4 key cycles so far. So we'll see if they clear themselves. The interesting thing to find out is if the vent tube opens back up with the fuel. I'm kind of interested in that myself because it's not venting, and that's part of why I was having a hard time filling up. Now I have a new charcoal canister underneath, so I don't know what the problem is with that. Well, it's a year old. But that was a brand new Motorcraft one I ordered from Rock Auto right before Power Tour last year. But that being said, there's several other things we can check on the car. But, like I said, the check engine lights are all still here. So, rolling back into town here, and so hopefully that new, we'll see what happens with the new fuel cap. That's not going to be in for 3 more days, so we'll just play with it till then. I may swap gaskets out or whatnot with the other cap and see what happens. So it's the next day and I'm just out driving around. Yeah, trains. There was a caboose over there. I like trains. If you get the reference, you're a legend. Anyhow, I'm down to just a little over half a tank right now. We've got to run it down all the way to 1/8 of a tank. Basically on this car, that means the fuel light needs to come on. I don't like running it that low. And the reason I don't like running it that low is if there's crap in the fuel tank, there's a good chance it's gonna get sucked up. But I run some pretty good cleaner through here and I try to take care of it. So we'll see what happens here. I got an itchy nose. No, it's not that. So let's keep on cruising over this way. They've been slowly but surely tearing this down. I don't know why, but That part has remained untorn down for a while. I'm actually sneaking over here to the north side of Wichita to see the location where they're supposed to be putting the new Loves in, so hopefully that goes in. They are opening a quick trip with truck fueling, not the KWIK, the QUI, the QT, not the KWIK, like up north. Personally, I like the ones up north better, but it's gonna, looks like it's gonna have some pretty good truck parking and pumps, so I'm happy about that. Back to the car, it has not cleared any check engine lights yet. So I got a plan to try. There's been times when I've gone ahead and instead of E85, I just fill it up with regular unleaded. And there's been times just swapping the fuel like that has actually knocked the light out. So I'm going to be straight up with you with that. I might go ahead and do that just to see if it does that. It knocks the light out there. Or, I don't know, man. If there's an ethical problem, y'all let me know and I won't do that again. But, so, we're going to try that, but the lights haven't changed yet. And I've only run down to about, I'll have just under half a tank when I get home. So, I think I'm going to head home and I'm going to probably finish this up on Thursday. It's Tuesday right now. And the reason I do that was I ordered a new fuel cap. So we're going to put the new fuel cap on and see if that actually does anything. It might not. 25 bucks for a brand new cap from Ford. Why not? So it's the next morning. Went over, got my coffee here at the Casey's, and we're gonna run this thing out. We have just a little under half a tank, so that ought to get me up to the north side of Wichita. So here we are in No Muffler, Newton. This is about as low as you should ever dare to take this car. We're just about out, actually. The fuel gauge actually went back up a little bit. So let me go fill up. We'll see how much fuel we take, and then we'll drive home. Still going. We got 14.375 gallons. For a car with a 16-gallon tank, that's why I said, you know, we all know where our cars are, and just because the light hadn't come on, I knew that we were right there towards the end. We had about 1.5 gallons of usable fuel left, if that. So I'm going to fire the car up, and we're going to drive back, and then it says right now I should be fine to go get my emissions tests. So we're going to take it back to the house, and then we're going to run the codes again, see if any new codes have popped up, which I know there have, because when these two codes pop up, the venting, it will trigger about 4 or 5 other codes that are just kind of reactionary. They're not a cause thing, they're just reactionary. If the first codes hadn't popped up, the other codes aren't going to. So let's get this thing back on the interstate, back to the house, and we'll check the code scanner when we get there. So I fired the thing up, and the fuel sender only went to half, turned the car off, fired it back up again, and now it's at full. So that'll be another code that'll pop up, probably a voltage code or something like that. It was just a fluke. Usually these one-time things are just that. This is part of why I don't like running the car down this low, because the car's at a place it's not happy or comfortable with, especially fuel-wise. So let's get back to the house. One thing is abundantly clear. The car is much happier now that I filled it up. It was noticeable right from the moment we pulled out of the gas station. It's peppier. It's all that. I don't know if that has anything to do with the cleaning or if that we were just sucking dirt off the bottom of the tank, but it appears to be a lot happier. So that's a plus, I guess. So let's get back to the house. Okay, so we're back at the house. The lights haven't cleared at all. So let's see what... Oh, there's 15 codes now. Sensor signal bait, bias stunk lean. That's the same one. It's just basically a cat code still. Whoops. Let's see. Evap, fuel system, loose off, or fuel, gross leak, no flow. Evap system leak detected. Same one. Purge control valve circuit. I think that is the fuel gauge that went nuts that one time. Same. O2 heater circuit, same. Evap system, fuel cap loose. No flow, evap. As you saw, there's 15 codes here. But if you looked at the codes, there was really only 2 that were really popping up, an evap and an O2. And it was all the rest of these codes, well, that and the fuel sender getting stuck. That was one of them. Aside from that, it's all the same stuff. It's like these things just compound. So has it gotten any better? No. So let's fire up the car, see what happens. Hasn't gotten any better. No check engine lights have cleared, which I kind of knew they wouldn't. But the only monitor stat that's really happening, the evap is green, the EGR is green. It's the catalytic converter that's giving me fits on here, which I think has to do with the O2. The O2 is sending false readings. So basically, if we change the O2 sensors out, we shouldn't have a problem. But the reason I don't change them out is simple. For anybody who's been dealing with cars for quite a while, the O2 is the most common go-to for everything. And it'll pop for no reason at all. It may just not like the E85. So everybody wants to throw in $100 and $150 O2 with labor over and over. Well, you got a bad O2 sensor. Did I? No, I didn't. It just didn't like the fuel that was going through. So that right there is why I'm always hesitant to change O2 sensors. Just because, well, need a light. Most of the time, an O2 sensor is just a reaction of something else. So this is why we're going through all these tests. Because while it wouldn't hurt to change it, it is expensive. So we need to figure out what the root cause is before we start treating the symptoms. Because if you don't fix the root cause, the symptoms will never get fixed, no matter how many parts you throw at it. So I guess we're going to pick it up tomorrow when I get the fuel cap. We'll put the new fuel cap on, drive it around, and then once that happens, we'll clear all the codes and see what comes back. So we finally got our new gas cap. Ordered it from Ford. This is the part number for this particular vehicle, which it may not be right for yours. I'll explain. What ends up happening was the first gas cap we looked at turned out not to be right. So they wanted the VIN number. And turns out it went to a whole different page for this car. So if you go in to buy a gas cap from Ford, make sure you have your VIN number, because the caps they're looking at may not be the right ones. This is the right one. We matched up with the VIN, and it's identical to the one in the back. So let me get a screwdriver, and we'll replace it. Now these caps are pretty easy to replace. Just pull this screw out here, which is right there, and it just hooks into that. Now you can feel that it's actually really loose. The new one is not loose at all. So theoretically, if it's just the gas cap, the minute I put the cap on and refire the car, the light should go out. If it doesn't, we've got bigger problems, which I know we have. So the new one is on, so let's go in and see if this thing will start up. What did I do with the keys? Oh, there they are. Let's see. Well, we'll give it a minute. Truthfully, I think it's the vent the tank is not venting properly, and that's why it's giving me that code. That's something that we'll have to explore at a later date when I have a little more time. But the fuel cap was wore out. Now, when I first got the car and that would happen, sometimes I'd just pour a can of berry mints in and it would fix it. And truthfully, I don't think the E85 does it any favors. For the sake of this test, that's why I used it all the way through. But when I run this down, I'm going to put a can of berry mints in and some unleaded and see what happens. But that has cleared the lights. But as for this stuff, the lights haven't cleared. Oh, it idled up. So let's go take it for a drive. But I gotta get my coffee cup. So, according to the back of the package, this thing says my car should be ready to go. But back to these lights. Did it fix it? No. And truthfully, I knew it would not. If you really want to dive deeper into what's wrong, you're going to need a better scanner than this and the internet. Now, granted, while most people, well, most normal people, don't own a scanner to figure out what's wrong with their cars, what this is designed to do is to kind of buy you a little more time at the onset of the problem. If you're like me and you've been just erasing codes for the last year, it comes to a point where you really have to just fix the actual problem. I've got bad O2 sensors. Now, I will tell you this, I noticed that a lot of the idle and everything did smooth out once I put the gas cap on, because now it's venting the way it's supposed to vent. Instead of from the top, venting out the top, it's actually pulling it through like it's supposed to. So that's a plus. Now, the reason I went through Ford rather than O'Reilly's or something of that nature was because I knew I'd get the right cap. That's all I really wanted. And for this test, I needed the right cap. And the price difference wasn't bad. It was probably, I'd have to look at O'Reilly's, but I would say with the cap I got, it probably wouldn't be more than about $8, $8 or $10, the difference. What I got was peace of mind because I knew I got the right cap. So like I said, these little things here are basically just snake oil. They will do light duty stuff and light duty cleaning, but when you've let it go on way too long, you really just have to spend the money and get it fixed. So I'm gonna plug my scanner in, I'm going to erase all these lights, and we'll see what happens. So hopefully they stay gone a little while. So all the codes are erased. We'll wait and see how long it takes for that one to come back. Yeah. Between you and me, I think the E85 does cause a lot of this trouble with the O2s. It may just be a software thing, you never know. But they're clear for now, so I'm going to run this thing today and see what happens. And then when we run low on fuel, I'm going to put unleaded gasoline in and see if it clears it, or it stays clear. And I'm going to put a bottle of berry mint in and just give it a proper flush. But you know, like I said, you can't rebuild a car from a bottle, but it is designed for, you know, basically a one-time use in a panic situation. But you guys just have to, you know, try these things on your own dime, but don't be looking for miracles. I guess that's just what I'm saying. At the first hint or anything like that, it should it pretty much should clear it. But if it's gone on as long as mine have, I had 20 codes on there and they were all either O2 or loose fuel cap. So anyhow, well, that's my critique on this. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And like I said, if you like the car, don't be afraid to spend the money and do it right, because, well, you'll never be upset that you did it right. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next video.